Hello, it is Monday, May 8th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Monday crossword today, so we should have a nice, gentle, early week themed crossword to start things off on a Monday morning. And this Monday edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Emma Smith, Jake Rodkin, Overfull Hitbox, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support. They are sustaining this channel, keeping this series going, and for that, I'm very appreciative. So thank you to those 5, but thank you to everybody who's a patron of the channel. All of you are sustaining this whole thing. It really does mean a lot to me, and if you'd like to contribute yourself, become a part of that community, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video, of course, and you can become a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Track the Crosses mug, or a patron at any level and get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. So again, thank you if you've done that yourself at any point. And you can also join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field to that as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't gotten around to that. Thank you to everybody who has. All right, so let's get on to today's crossword without too much delay. This is a debut construction by Catherine Seta, possibly is how that's pronounced. And so we'll see what she has in store for us. We can see some circled cells through the grid. Looks like maybe in a little arc, little smiley face mouth maybe. Edited, as always, by Will Shorts. Let's start solving. Yes, they're all that pattern, although of different lengths, actually. So we have 4-cell and 5-cell little arcs in the grid. Anyway, the C in TLC is care, for tender, loving care. And let's check the crosses on that. Barista's establishment is a cafe where coffee might be sold. A mathematician Turing is Alan Turing, the great British mathematician, and picture frames usually are, what are picture frames? Rectangular, probably. No. Rectangles? Maybe that's it. Applies as pressure. You could exert pressure. So let's check the cross on this. Former Jeopardy host Trebek, Alex Trebek, there we go. And shared a video call on an Apple device. Oh, that's FaceTimed. There we go. So what is this going to spell? Cream? Earnest appeal, an entreaty. Yes, it does spell that. Okay. No idea what that means yet. So I don't think I can guess. Let's see. No, I don't know. Cream of the crop or something. I have no idea what this is. Okay. Star Wars heroine who founded the Resistance, Leia from Star Wars, the first film, well, and several others. Some people with summer birthdays. Oh, this is presumably a zodiac thing. Leos, I guess, maybe? Are Leos summer? Let's say they are. Pathetic. If something's pathetic or someone, they're sad. And isle where Napoleon was exiled, famously to the Isle of Elba, from which he escaped. Arboreal symbol of Massachusetts, must be the elm tree. And if you followed instructions, you obeyed those instructions. To update the equipment of as a factory would be to rejig or refit, maybe? That sounds a bit better to me. Let's see. Let in. Yes, you could let somebody in. You could admit them to your home or workplace or whatever. To let up is to abate. If something dies down a bit, it lets up, it abates. That's funny. Let up, die down. That kind of thing is incredibly, I'm sure, irritating to learners of English, as I guess I can relate as a French learner, remembering what happens to something or of something or on or atop, because they're not the same as English always. In fact, they're often not the same. Pinto or garbanzo are beans. So don't forget, with an or clue like this, you're only referring to pinto bean or a garbanzo bean, one or the other. So it's a singular answer, not a plural, even though there are 2 beans in the clue. You might be tempted to put an S on the end, but don't do that. Thomas Jefferson's religious belief, he was a deist, so sort of essentially non-organized, generalized religious belief. Helper could be an aid, and a Russian title derived from Caesar is Tsar, from which we also get Kaiser. Okay, Madam, I'm Adam is a famous palindrome, so it reads the same in either direction. And the E in ego, oh, this is wrong. Oh, sorry, his religious belief was deism, right? Deism was the belief he himself was a deist. There we go. I should have recognized that at the time. The E in EGOT is an Emmy for Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony for major performing arts awards in the United States. And spot to sample a sherry could be a winery. You could have sherry wine at a winery. Actress Ryder, Winona Ryder, and Eve's Garden, or the letters at the beginning and end of Eve's Garden. Oh, sure. Fair enough. Eden. So we have E at the beginning of Eve's Garden, and then I should do it over here. E and then D-E-N at the end. All right. A marshy area is a fen, a sort of bog or marsh. And standing room only. No seats, I guess you could say. Tennis unit could be... What is a unit in tennis? A set. Game, set, match. You could have one set as a unit of games. And then somewhat recently released is new-ish. I suppose that's what the somewhat recently is referring to. It's new-ish. It's not necessarily brand new. Not very many of something is few of that thing. Spanish is to Siorna as German is to Frau. So Herr and Frau for Mr. and Mrs. and Senora in Spanish, similarly. And these, if you're not familiar with this construction, these colons here are setting up an analogy. So the first two things bear the same relationship vis-a-vis each other as the third and fourth items. So that's how that works. Metaphorically lost, you could be at sea. I think this was in the crossword yesterday or the day before. And an attendant at a wedding or a Broadway show. You could have an usher showing people to their seats. Get it? See, you might ask? And creates a ruckus, raises hell, maybe? Raises Cain also could work. There might be other options, so maybe I won't put anything in just yet. Now hear this, you could say, before, I don't know, declaring something, I guess. Fingers crossed. Hope so. Fingers are crossed. Let's hope so. And uno plus uno is dos in Spanish. And we've got another one of these, which is, so here 55 down refers to 49 across and says 49 across times cuatro. So we have 2 times 4 is 8, which is ocho. So there we go. I can't believe I missed that question, though often how I feel solving the crossword. And many person act of support or affection. A group, oh, this isn't do, it's duh. Sorry, very similar, but slightly different implication, I suppose. Duh is sort of, oh, whoops. Yeah, I should have known that. That was obvious. Whereas do is, I made a mistake, I guess, or I'm frustrated. Obviously, the use cases for those overlap, but maybe aren't identical. Many person act of support or affection is a group hug. So this does look like raise as hell, doesn't it? Okay, I think that'll go on the grid. And then second hand could be used. And a winter toy is a sled. Certifications on some college applications. GEDs, something like general education degree or something like that, or it's something to that effect. It's sort of a, I guess, U.S. high school equivalent test, basically. And a winter toy is a sled. We saw that. Automotive pioneer whose name preceded a mobile, Oldsmobile, was a former U.S. car make. And photographer's request as suggested by this puzzle's circled letters. Oh, say cheese. Oh, that's funny. So, okay, I didn't catch on to that at all. They are little smileys. So we have cream cheese, Edam cheese, Swiss cheese, feta cheese, maybe? Let's try this and see if it works. Oops. Out of debt, so to speak. Ooh, doesn't look very good, does it? Maybe it's not that. Out of debt, so to speak. Oh, I don't know. I can't see it. Sorry. What about this? Government IDs are social security numbers. That's a U.S. unique numerical identifier. And what about this? We'll finish this off. Devoured. If you devoured something, you ate it. And a golfer sticks one in the grass, a tee from which to hit the golf ball. Lost in Translation director Coppola. That was Sofia Coppola, right? Sofia Coppola? Hope I'm not misremembering her name. Believe that's right. Harley to a biker, so a Harley Davidson, a motorcycle referred to as a hog in biker slang. And what a beach umbrella provides, it provides shade to those underneath it. So, oh, if you're out of debt, you're afloat, I suppose. If you're in debt, you're underwater. Okay, yeah, there we go. That makes sense. Metaphorically, of course. So this is feta. Oh, right, okay. There we go. Mel in the Baseball Hall of Fame, one of these names I know purely from the crossword, is Mel Ott, classic baseball man from the crossword and from the actual Baseball Hall of Fame. Sunrise's direction is east, of course, and a low-calorie soda could be a diet, maybe diet pop. That's soda is called pop in some parts of the U.S. Maybe that's what this is. Siesta, yes, a siesta could be a nap. If one does penance, one atones for one's sins. And a Scottish denial is nay, which is correct. So there we go. And we can move on. Pet that uses a litter box. A cat uses a litter box. And don't let me interrupt. Carry on. Oh, I see. Don't let me interrupt. Carry on. Keep going. Keep talking. Texters, then again, could be, oops, on the other hand, and, or OTOH for on the other hand in text language. Sun in Santiago would be Sol, the sun, in Spanish, and comedian Jay, talk show host Jay Leno from American television, and nullify to negate something, to nullify it, to negate it. Simone, who sang I Put a Spell on You, of course, the great Nina Simone. That is just an unbelievably great recording, isn't it? And part discarded from peach could be the pit of a peach, and to dissuade someone is to deter them from doing something. Specifications in slang, maybe the deets, give me the deets as in give me the details, perhaps. Let's check the crosses, of course. If one puts up with something, one abides it. Oh, this is brie cheese. There we go. Relative worth could be, is it brie cheese? I keep guessing these and then immediately questioning it once I have to get the crosses. Let's look at the downs. Name hidden in cocktail sauce. It's not brie. It's blue cheese, right? Surely, yes, because relative worth is value. There we go. Okay. So name hidden in cocktail sauce is Ilsa, and again, somewhat similar to that Eden answer. We simply, in this case, it's even more straightforward. The name Ilsa is spelled out consecutively in the letters of cocktail sauce. Okay, if you're like a diehard fan of something, you're an avid enthusiast of it, and the bane of one's existence is something that really just constantly gets in your way, frustrates your ambitions. A map box could be an inset, so a small inset box on a map that shows, I don't know, an island chain or something. Burr versus Hamilton contest, e.g. famously a duel between Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, of whom the latter was of whom the former was the victor. Okay, bargains are deals, and I think that's the crossword. No, it's not. It is not. What did I put a semicolon in for deals. That'll do it. All right, there we go. That was the Monday crossword by Catherine Setta in a nice, gentle Monday debut. And of course, gentility is our hope for a Monday crossword. So here we have and this is actually, I think it's been, I don't know, several days, a week or more maybe, since we've had this kind of completely classic theme where the revealer is positioned precisely where we would expect it to be based on Lyell's law, which indicates that the revealer, the answer that ties together the theme of the day's crossword, is most often located generally speaking, towards the southeast of the grid, and often, very specifically, exactly 3 cells up from the southern border and abutting the eastern border. And in this case, it's exactly there. Say cheese, which tells us that in the smiles that are encouraged by a photographer saying say cheese, inside those smiles are the cheeses being said, I suppose. So here we have Edam, cream, Swiss, feta, and blue. And there we have it. That was the crossword for today. Nice, simple one. Hope you enjoyed it. And with that, let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. I don't think I I noted down every single one because it was the big Sunday grid, but I did note down 4. And so here they are. Cohen reminds me that U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Grace Hopper created the COBOL programming language. So there we go. I remember that she was in the military and was an early computer programmer. Did not remember that she created COBOL. So thank you for that. Nix Hicks explains that the word topic, the English language word topic, comes from the Latin topica, from Greek ta topica, literally matters concerning commonplaces, the title of a treatise by Aristotle, from topos, a place. I love learning etymology, she says. I do as well. Thank you for that bit of it. And Rabbit explains false killer whales. I was wondering about that aloud yesterday. False killer whales are a species of large ocean dolphin in the genus Pseudorca. That's funny, pseudo-orca. They have skulls that look like an orca's, which is where they got their name, but they look more like pilot whales. A fun fact about them is when they were first described by Richard Owen, he compared them to a grampus dolphin, calling them a thick-toothed grampus, which makes for a good insult. It does indeed. You thick-toothed grampus. You pseudorca. That one doesn't work quite as well, does it? Brian Spurrier says, for more information on the Scoville scale, which is used to rate the heat of peppers, originally it was a subjective test based on how diluted ground peppers had to be before 3 out of 5 judges could not detect it. Since this rating is almost directly based on the concentration of capsaicinoids in the pepper, in recent years we just measure the concentration directly, in parts per million, and then arbitrarily multiply it by 16 to align with the old scale. So I guess technically the maximum possible score would be 16 million, but at that point you are just eating a solid block of capsaicin. Sounds absolutely unbelievable, but it also sounds as though we're going to get pretty close to that based on the efforts of the botanists who seem to create ever hotter peppers. All right, well, there we have it. That was the crossword for today and some of yesterday's clues. Thanks to everybody who wrote in as usual. And I'll be back tomorrow with the Tuesday edition of the crossword, which should be another relatively approachable themed grid. So do come back for that. But until then, please have an excellent remainder of your Monday. Take care.